Perhaps the most powerful theme the allegory of the cave addresses is about the process of education. The prisoners in the cave are essentially people who have never been exposed to the world. They think the world is this cave they are in, and they only know the appearance of objects as shadows on the wall. They never saw anything else, hence, they think this is what the world consists of. The prisoners who were allowed to leave the cave was finally exposed to everything they never knew existed. This process was overwhelming, and it took the freed person a while to adjust to the light of the moon, and then finally the light of the sun. Similarly, when people are introduced to various academic disciplines, it can be overwhelming to realize just how much they never knew or fathomed about the world. Towards the end, when the freed person returns to the cave to tell the prisoners of what he saw, they don't believe him. Additionally, there is a game among the prisoners on who can spot the object's shadow across the wall and memorize the order. The returned person, however, cannot play the game because his eyes are no longer adjusted to the low light of the cave. So, the prisoners mock him and say his experiences have made him weaker and dumber than everybody else. This part illuminates how anti-intellectualism works. People who have not learned and experienced many academic topics tend to demean and undervalue them, as well as find educated people as somehow overthinking things or studying useless topics. In many instances, education is about realizing how little you know, and it is about unlearning what you thought the world consists of. It's extremely difficult to know that which you do not know. Education seeks to give people perspective on just how rich and complex the world can really be. But if you are stuck in the cave, your understanding of the world will be very limited. Adding on top of this, Plato's philosophy is idealism. A big thing for him was the world of the forms. So say you have a cockroach, right? It's gross. It's disgusting. So let's stomp that thing dead. In fact, let's stomp every single cockroach dead right now. I'm gonna close my eyes. Done? You sure? Okay. So that's great. I'm glad there's no more cockroaches. But if cockroaches no longer exist in the physical world, how are we still talking about cockroaches? How can we talk about something that doesn't exist? Because the idea of cockroaches still exists. So therefore, ideas precede physical reality. Cockroaches are gross, so let's stop talking about them. Let's talk about circles. Let's draw some. Oh wow, mine is all squiggly, but yours, that's a perfect circle. But if we look closer, the circle isn't actually perfect. It has squiggly lines, but they are just smaller squiggly lines, so it looked perfect at first. But what gives? I can imagine a perfect circle where if we zoom in closer and closer, it always has the perfect arc. I can even give you a math formula that produces a perfect circle, but we can never draw one. For Plato, this world of the forms is where the perfect essence of a thing resides. Perfect circles, perfect chairs, perfect cockroaches even. It does not depend on physical reality, as we can see with the idea of cockroaches surviving the extermination of the physical bodies of the cockroach. Everything on this earth is just a squiggly version of the idea of the thing. The perfect and thus inaccessible idea of things then exists outside of our physical plane. So when you're watching those shadow puppets of dogs and cats and women and trees, it's like you're looking at the material world and assuming that's it. That's the truth and all there is. The philosopher leaves the cave and he sees the real trees and real dogs and realizes that the shadow puppets are just cheap knockoffs of the real thing. Even in modern times, Plato's cave still serves its purpose in teaching and making a statement on the current situation of the world we live in. Our constant ignorance and stubbornness hinders us from learning and accepting the ideas of others. We would rather take shelter in our own ideas and protect it with all our might, instead of sitting for 1 second and considering that perhaps there's more to the world than our own cave.